Jai Hind दोस्तों. In this video, I am going to explain the fundamental concepts in research, hypothesis and thesis statement, because these are the concepts that every now and then we come across in research, whether it is scientific research, social science research, or literary research. There are certain processes in research that we have to carry out. We all collect data. We gather data through various methods. There are different kinds of methods. In literature, we collect data from primary and secondary sources. Primary sources are those sources which we take for study, and then we analyze those texts, and those statements that we make are supported by the statements in secondary sources. We quote from primary sources and the secondary sources and justify our point of view. The data collected then is analyzed. We break down the data into the patterns, and then we process the data to extract insights, patterns, and trends. So after analysis, we present the result of the analysis, and that we do in a very neutral and a very objective manner. Then the data presented after analysis, and after presenting the findings, after analysis of that data, we interpret the findings in order to justify our point of view. So there is the process of interpretation, and this interpretation is nothing but assigning meaning to the findings, relating them to the research question, research issue, research problem, and then we draw conclusion. So this is the process that we all follow in all kinds of literature, kinds of research, whether this is scientific research, social science research, or it is literary research. But these processes are very essential. So let us get into the very concept of hypothesis and thesis statement. We will see the similarities as well as differences between these two concepts, hypothesis and thesis statement. So what is hypothesis? When we prepare the proposal, we are required to frame certain hypothesis. It can be any number. Hypothesis can be any number. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as the researcher thinks necessary. Hypothesis is a specific. Try to understand how it is defined here. Hypothesis is a specific, testable prediction made about the relationship between variables. Variables in research, variable is a factor or characteristic that can be measured, manipulated, or controlled to observe its effect on the outcome or phenomenon being studied. Variables can be thought of as the ingredients of a study, and then can be classified into different types, such as independent variables, that is the cause, dependent variables, the effect, cause and effect relationship between independent variable, which is the cause, and dependent variable, which is the effect. The goal of identifying and working with variable is to understand their relationship and how they impact the research outcome. So this concept particularly we come across in social science research. So hypothesis is a specific testable prediction made about the relationship between variables. It is a statement. Hypothesis is a statement that proposes a possible explanation for a phenomenon or research problem. A hypothesis is often used in scientific as well as social science and literary research, and is typically verified or tested through experiments or in literary research data analysis. We analyze the data and then we interpret the analysis. Then thesis statement. There is, as I said, similarities and differences between hypothesis and thesis statement. Try to understand again. A thesis statement. A thesis statement is a clear and concise argument. It is an argument. It's not prediction. It is an argument or claim made about a topic or issue or the research problem. It is a statement that presents the main argument or point of research paper, essays or dissertation. A thesis statement is often used in academic writing and is typically supported by evidence and reasoning. So it's not prediction. When we say a thesis statement, it has to be supported by the evidences. This is the main difference between hypothesis and thesis statement. Hypothesis is a prediction, it's a kind of assumption, whereas thesis statement is argument which is supported by primary and secondary sources or evidences. The similarities between hypothesis and thesis statement. Both hypothesis and thesis statement are crucial, very important components of academic writing, used in various fields and disciplines. So both are important points, both are important components in academic writing and used in various fields and disciplines. So this is one of the similarities between hypothesis and thesis statement. Both are designed, hypothesis and thesis statement are designed to guide research and investigation, either predicting an outcome, that is hypothesis, predicting an outcome, or making a claim. When I say claim or argument, this is thesis statement. Both provide, hypothesis and thesis statement provide a clear direction for the research, helping to stay focused and be on track. So it gives a kind of direction to the research scholar. Both hypothesis and thesis statement serve as a guiding framework. It's a framework for the research, helping to organize and structure the investigation, examination or exploration of the research topic. Hypothesis is used to predict a specific outcome, while a thesis statement presents an argument or claim. A hypothesis is testable through experimentation or data analysis, while a thesis statement is supported by evidence and reasoning. Hypothesis is typically broad and comprehensive. It is broad and comprehensive, while a thesis statement is precise and narrow because it is an argument. Hypothesis is often neutral and objective, while a thesis statement is more assertive and argumentative because it's in the form of claim or argument. So it is very assertive and argumentative. So we can say that hypothesis can be proven wrong or rejected based on the result of the study. Hypothesis can be proven wrong or it can be rejected based on result of the study, whereas a thesis statement is supported by evidence and reasoning. That is the point of view of the research scholar. People may accept it or may not accept it, but the research scholar has to make his argument on the basis of the evidences that they have. In hypothesis, statements tend to be more general, while thesis statements are more specific and detailed. More specific and detailed. Hypotheses often use verbs like predict, hypothesize, or expect because this is assumption. Therefore, we come across the words like you, words like or verbs like predict, hypothesize, or expect. Thesis statement use verbs like argue, demonstrate, or show. For example, this is for hypothesis, how hypothesis is framed in literary research. In The White Tiger, Arvinda Adiga exposes the stark contrasts between India's wealthy elite and its impoverished underclass. Thesis statement: the novel The White Tiger by Adiga portrays the city of Delhi as a symbol of India's rapid modernization and the tension between tradition and progress. So, this can be easily supported by the evidences that the research scholar collect. He can demonstrate, he can show, whereas in hypothesis, whatever the statement is made, a kind of assumption in the form of assumption, so that we need to prove later on. In the course of the study, he has to collect the data and then he has to prove it right. If the research scholar is not able to prove the assumption that he made in hypothesis, then we can say that that hypothesis is rejected. Second example under hypothesis. The White Tiger by Arvinda Adiga will expose the stark contrasts between India's wealthy elite and its impoverished underclass. Under thesis statement, we have through Balram's story, Adiga critiques the notion of Indian dream, revealing dark underbelly of capitalism and exploration of the poor by the wealthy. Under hypothesis, you have another statement. It is predicted or hypothesized that The White Tiger by Arvinda Adiga exposes stark contrast between India's wealthy elite and its impoverished underclass. So, under hypothesis, the predictions are made, assumptions are made, and the research scholar will prove his points of view or the assumptions with the help of primary and secondary sources. Sometimes he may prove his point of view, sometimes he may not be able to prove his point of view. So the hypothesis is based upon the elementary study that the research scholar carry out, whereas thesis statement is framed after thorough examination of primary and secondary sources, and on the basis of primary and secondary sources which the research scholar collects, he proves his point of view by the evidences that he or she has. So this is the main difference between hypothesis and thesis statement. Thank you. Jai Hind.